Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum and welcome to TechByte on Salam Media. My name is Faizel Patel and the time is just gone 2 minutes past 7 o'clock on this Sunday evening. I take this opportunity to welcome all those listening to us on the various platforms on Salam Media, that's via the social media channels, including YouTube. Now, if you do miss this program, don't stress because it will be podcasted and you can check it out live on Salam Media's YouTube channel. If there are any questions, you can tweet me on at Faizel Patel 143. That's my Twitter. I'm also on Instagram at Faizel Patel 143. And let's not forget facebook.com/ Faizel Patel. And some of the reviews and all the other videos that I have, you can check out my YouTube channel at Faizel Patel 143. There's a new load shedding video coming up. Last year, sometime, I did a story or a video called My Solution to Load Shedding. And it's been almost 2 years since I did that video, and I've got an update on that. So, inshallah, that will be coming out soon. But nonetheless, we've got a very important interview. And if you haven't forgotten that this past week was Women's Day, International Women's Day, and there's so much to talk about it, whether it's gender-based violence and whether it's gender parity and many other issues as well. But we're going to be speaking about women in technology because women play a critical role in technology and they have a lot to contribute. So we can be speaking to somebody about that. And if we do have time, we'll also be speaking about why the Gen Z, that's the young generation, hate printers. And then also we're going to be touching very lightly on PlayStation VR2 next gen headset. And then also Microsoft Translator launches 13 new African languages. So if you do struggle to speak this specific language, whether it's an African language or even Arabic, which I understand very little about. And when I do go to Saudi, then I use the translator app, really works miracles. But yeah, we'll be speaking a little bit about that as well. Now, if you didn't catch my interview with Sia Kolisi, for those that don't know, he is the rugby captain, the Springbok rugby captain, and he's now moved to Paris, France, where he's going to be joining another club there. But I had an interview with him about his relationship with Lenovo. And one of the things that Sia told me during that particular interview, I actually proposed something to him. Remember that we are going to be seeing the World Cup, the Rugby World Cup. And I asked him, I said, why don't you work with Lenovo to ensure that at least that the broadcast of that Rugby World Cup will be brought to especially the youngsters, some people that look up to him, the young black kids that look up to him in the rural areas, so that they can also live stream these events, even if it's via equipment probably sponsored by Lenovo. And Sia actually said it was a good idea. So if you want to check out that particular interview or you want to read that story, you can go to the citizen.co.za. But let's come on to today's topic. I think it's very, very important. The past year has seen artificial intelligence. For those that don't know, it's AI. Artificial intelligence, simply put, I mean, for those that don't understand it, it's your Siri and it's Google. You know, when you say, hey, Google, switch my lights on, or if you speak to Siri or you speak to all the other artificial intelligence, that's basically the simplest form of it. So this has become a dinner table topic of conversation around the world, thanks to bots such as ChatGPT, which dazzles users with its ability to compose lifelike text and even computer code. But what happens when AI makes wrong decisions? Now, remember, these things are just technology. And if you're into the whole Iron Man series and if you watch Avengers, then you'll know how AI takes it to the next level. But they are prone to make mistakes. And one of the things I was discussing with my colleagues last week, as far as ChatGPT is concerned, because all you have to do is put a topic into ChatGPT and it types you out a whole little article. So they were making a joke that there may not be a room for journalists anymore, but there will be room, I think, because sometimes even the machines or even the technology doesn't think like humans. Human expresses emotion and expresses feelings and a whole lot of other stuff. But that's a topic for another day. So basically, we're going to be speaking about the decision. I mean, what happens if this AI makes a wrong decision? I know I have that sometimes, especially with load shedding, when I tell, hey, Google to switch on my lights and it doesn't switch on the lights or it switch on the wrong lights. But to tell us more, we are joined on the line by Ada Lopez, and she's the Senior Manager for Global Product Diversity Office at Lenovo. And she's going to discuss with us the increasing issue of gender bias in artificial intelligence and offers and advice. She's going to give us some as well. Ada, thank you for your time on Salam Media. Really appreciate it. And thank you for joining us on the program.
Faizel, thank you so much for inviting me today, but really for having interest in looking at gender bias in artificial intelligence. This is a really important issue that will touch the lives of so many of your listeners around the entire world, really. Um, but I'm happy to be here, so thank you for welcoming me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things, and I want to start off with this. I mean, you never think that a robot, and I know I've seen that I don't even want to call it the robot that looks like a female. I can't remember her name. These things not supposed to have any human emotions unless you RoboCop or something along those lines. But AI and gender-based violence or gender parity in AI, is that actually a possibility?
Gender violence in AI? Well, it depends on how you think about violence, right? And let's talk a little bit about this bias and how it happens. We think about AI and we think about these movies and things that are happening in the future. But really, when we talk about AI, we need to think about that AI is only as good as the data sets that we train the AI on. When you start collecting this data and processing it, how you use it, you're inserting risk. And the bias can creep in anywhere. For example, if you put in more data about one gender than the other, or if the questions written into the AI are written mostly by men, this is going to skew your data, right? And this skewing of data and gender bias happens every day. It already happens in the language that we use every day with each other. It happens on the news online, articles that we read, books. Gender bias has existed in our society for a very long time. The issue is how this is impacting us and our society, right?
Mm,
There's research that shows in Google News that there's certain words like captain, philosopher, protege.
mm,
These are associated with men. And then words like receptionist, socialite, homemaker, these are associated with women, right? So you can already see the bias.
of
And
course.
many of these AI systems, they're largely created by male teams. And that has a significant problem for women. And the problems can range from credit card companies that seem to give better credit, more generous credit to men, to tools used for healthcare, COVID to liver disease. These screening tools have bias in them, and they can impact and damage people's finances, our health, because of the way that the data is fed.
Mhm.
I'll take a
Well,
breath there.
yeah, no, I mean, it's so interesting, and I wish we had a lot more time. Speaking about Lenovo, obviously, I think they've been at the forefront of actually ensuring, the sort of the balance of gender bias, to take it to the next level to ensure that there's sort of more integration of women, especially in the technology field. I mean, reaching out to people here in South Africa at all different levels and promoting social cohesion among different groups. On your side, I mean, in the US, how has this been effective in being implemented by Lenovo?
So Lenovo has goals to increase women at the executive level throughout the company, and we are really working towards those goals and making great progress. So that is one way. One way that we deal with gender bias is diversify your workforce. Right,
Mhm.
businesses need to deal with this bias issue, and many of them, including Lenovo, are have built responsible AI boards to make sure that our software is in fact evaluated for AI and other diversity problems, right? So this leads us to what my role, which is the product diversity office. And in the product diversity office, we evaluate all new products, and we evaluate them for diversity issues. Are they meeting the needs of our diverse customer base. As a global company, we rely heavily on diversified thinking, having representation in our workforce, but also testing our products with users from across the world and making sure that we minimize any risk of bias inherent in the technology itself. So these are things that we are working on as a company. Through the product diversity office and through a responsible AI committee, and we work together on these things.
Coming on to obviously the AI aspect of it, obviously because this is a technology show, we are seeing more AI integrated products. I mean, you've seen, the Chat GPT, and I think Google has Bard as well, and there's many others coming. The simple forms are like Siri and Google and that kind of stuff. And how has Lenovo implemented it? I mean, let's take ChatGPT for example. I mean, it makes your work, well, sometimes obsolete. I think who's going to write a 2,000-page word when you can get somebody else to do it for you? How is Lenovo integrated this into making, I think, the products more sort of user friendly in that sort of sense as far as AI is concerned? I mean, that's the future anyway. Everything in your home is being connected or controlled sometimes by AI if you have a smart home. Is Lenovo got any plans for that to take it to the next level?
Absolutely. We right now are in the middle of working on how to validate our AI and how to integrate and how to validate our partners' AI. So we often partner with other agencies who also have AI and put some of the software into our products. So that's part of validating products. I think we have to have human agency and oversight to make sure that we are in fact looking at things ourselves and it's not just going through an AI process, right? Because the AI is not as sophisticated as a human brain, right?
Mhm.
So we're making sure that our AI has diversity and inclusion, that we take measures for privacy and security, accountability, reliability, that it has transparency, and we're looking at the environmental and social impact that this could have. And not, again, not just for our own products, but for any collaboration, partnerships, any vendors that we work with as well. We want to be sure that they're also following this structure to prevent risk.
And finally, I mean, I want to come back to the gender bias issue again. We've just celebrated Women's Day this past week. I mean, we are still seeing in several sectors of society, whether it's law or whether it's tech or that kind of stuff. I would love to see more tech CEOs. I think if we need to raise awareness, it needs to be done basically at grassroots level, at people like us that report in the media. So the question is, how can we as individuals raise awareness of the importance of addressing gender bias rather in AI among stakeholders, including policymakers, industry leaders, and the public? And I say policymakers because I think at the forefront of the policymakers are politicians, it's prime ministers, it's presidents. We've seen, some come through, but unfortunately, it's just taking a long time. And if you take a simple sport like Formula One, which I love, I mean, we haven't seen females make it to the top echelons of the sport. There is a small recognition, but how do we create and raise awareness about gender bias? Let's start from AI right down until sport.
Absolutely. Leaders need to address this broader problem, women in STEM. And when we talk about AI, particularly in data science, we know
Mhm.
that there are not too many women in this field, right? We need to increase women interested in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and we need them in leadership roles. So, how do we address them, right? As organizations, we diversify, we hire more, we promote women, we give them opportunities in the training that they need. And as individuals, we encourage our daughters, our sisters, our women cousins, right? We come
Mhm.
together and we encourage them. We share our interests, whether it's sports, whether it's data science. we integrate that into our everyday life, right? And that's how we come together, because allyship is really important. Women need allies that'll speak up for them and provide opportunities for them when they're not in the room. This We have to do this together as a society.
So I did just spurred one more question on you speaking about STEM, and I think STEM is quite important, the science, technology, and mathematics. I mean, one of the things I think that South Africa has been grappling with is obviously, the science and specifically mathematics. Do you think that, to integrate, we forget university level, let's start off from nursery or from grade R. I, I think shouldn't, or maybe you can elaborate on this, shouldn't the whole science and astronomy and technology and mathematics be integrated at a very young level? So when they do reach grade 5 or grade 6 or even coming to grade 12, then you can say, like my daughter the other day was saying, Dad, I want to do a coding course in school. And I told her, I said, if you want to do it, it's fine, but you need to progress from there and take it to the next level. Maybe that should be integrated at more very junior levels, at nursery or grade R level, to ensure that when eventually that person reaches the top echelons of the school at matric level or grade 12, they can then take it further at university level and then excel in the sort of STEM arena.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you, right? It has to be taught at an early age. And we need to think about these things first so we can teach our children. Um, so many of us have taught our children how to cook. We teach them how to measure. We tell them that is science. You're learning STEM. And look, you're good at it. You encourage them. Now you're nurturing that curiosity, right? With a skill you know. Or if you have to fix something in your home, you bring your child, teach them how to use the tools, teach them how to take a measurement, right, from a very early age, and tell them they did a good job so that they continue to help you and they continue to grow their confidence in STEM, so that they, when they get to higher grades, the upper elementary, middle school, encourage them to take the advanced science and math courses, because that's going to change their trajectory for their career, right? By the time they get to high school, they're already on
Yes.
a track. So we need to encourage our children and our girl children, right? To look at STEM, to consider STEM. We need to show them how it's part of our everyday life. And if maybe you don't know how to, this is where it takes a village. Talk to your neighbors, right? Many times I invite my neighbors to my backyard so I can do an experiment with children, right? Because that's part of what we do for each other. And you can do that with salt and hot water. You don't need a lot of equipment. You just need some creativity. And remember, other humans are your resources. And together, if we come to plant that seed and nurture that curiosity and interest in STEM at an early age, we can really start to make that difference.
Absolutely. And I really enjoyed the conversation. I wish I could go on forever. But, speaking about STEM, I just want to share this with you. And I'm sure you know as well, Mayim Balik from Big Bang Theory, Sheldon's girlfriend. Most of them are supposed to be doctors and scientists, but she is actually a scientist in real life. So for listeners, they didn't know that if you're watching Big Bang Theory and if you know Sheldon's girlfriend, I can't remember her name right now. I know her real name, Mayim Balik. She started MacGyver and she started in the Big Bang Theory, and she's actually a neuroscientist in real life, unlike Sheldon and Dr. Sheldon Cooper and others. But yeah, so that is an example. I think it's very, very important. Ada, we just got like about 30 seconds left. Your message to our viewers, and give them something to ponder and motivate them before we conclude.
The message is what we've been talking about this whole time. We need to include women in STEM careers, in STEM fields. We need to encourage our young girls to think about how they use STEM every day and build up their confidence. And in the world of technology, we need to make sure that we're doing everything that we can, including user testing, to eliminate, minimize gender bias in our products, in our AI, and in other products, in our wearable things. Are we fitting them for men and women? We really need to think about these things so that we can open the world of technology for everyone, and really create smarter technology for all, which is Lenovo's goal.
I think that's absolutely wonderful, and I think it will resonate with a lot of people, including myself, because you never know when the next brilliant idea is going to come from. It could be the little girl sitting in a corner of Africa in a hut that hasn't got access to technology, and hopefully Lenovo can work with Sia Kolisi to actually bring, those technologies to the rural areas, and we may see maybe possibly a cure for cancer coming from somebody who we never knew existed. Ada, thank you so much for your time on Salam Media this evening. And I want to take this opportunity to say thank you again, and also to enjoy your stay here in South Africa. And we hope that you and Lenovo can make a significant contribution, especially to dispel this gender bias that's been sort of resonating and hopefully doesn't become cemented in society and can be broken down so we can see more young females emerge as CEOs and professors and even astronauts, and possibly the first women on the moon that NASA has been promoting extensively with their last rocket launch. But anyway, from my side and from Salam Media, we really take this opportunity to say thank you, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone.
Cheers. Bye bye. All right, that was Ada speaking to us about gender bias within the technology or AI sector. I think it's very important that everybody opportunity, irrespective of race, creed, or color, or even ethnicity, and even sex-wise, male or female, has the opportunity to propel themselves to extraordinary levels. It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, just to give you an idea, and I'm trying not to be sort of blatant. I've won a few awards and that kind of stuff, but I didn't do it. I mean, I didn't do it myself. First of all, it's with Allah's permission. Everything I get is with Allah's permission, and He's the one that makes it happen. But like myself and everybody else, each one of you at home, no matter which field you are in, whether you are working or whether you are in school, have the opportunity to be the best they can be. Nobody is stopping you. And if you dedicate your time and your effort and you turn to Allah, inshallah, you could be the next rocket scientist or become the next person or the next surgeon or the next doctor or the next scientist that finds a cure for cancer. Anyway, moving on to our next story, we're going to just touch on one more because we are running out of time. It was a lovely interview with Ada, but unfortunately, we're going to have to cut two of the stories short. So basically, I just want to touch on three of them. We were speaking about the Gen X hating printers. So members of the Generation Z rather were born into a world where the internet already existed. Indeed, a large number of them spend most of their time behind a screen, but it doesn't mean they are confident about their workplace IT skills. And this include printing. I mean, do people still print anymore when it comes to email, WhatsApps and stuff? Maybe share your thoughts and comments with me on at Faizel Patel 143. So check that story out. It's called I Hate Printers, Gen Z's Baffled by Office Tech. And then the next one is PlayStation VR2 next gen headset with advanced features is now in South Africa. Sony launched its next generation PlayStation VR2 in South Africa with the advanced features for an immersive gaming experience. If you really love your gaming, then this is the way to go. With advanced features such as enhanced tracking and high fidelity visuals, the VR2 aims to take virtual reality gaming to a whole new level, providing players with heightened sensation unlike any others as well. And then they speak about advanced features and display and design, VR2 games, and then also it gives you some specs on our article as well. And then with regards to pricing and availability, well, you're going to have to check, and we will share that with you as soon as it's available. Actually, I do have the pricing for you. So the PlayStation VR2 is available for purchase from various retailers in South Africa, including BT Games, FNB Games for You, Incredible, Kudu, Loot, Macro, New World, the Nexus Hub, Take a Lot, and Zappa Gaming. The recommended retail price of the PlayStation V2R headset and included PlayStation VR2 sensor controller is 13,499 rand. Things are really getting expensive, isn't it? I mean, if you look at the price of phones and just a headset alone is 13,499 rand. I actually had a conversation with my aunt this evening. Before I came and did the show, that she was saying something about, and I want to share this with you before I get to my part. Mullah Suleiman Mullah makes his kurta by a well-known kurta maker, and when he paid, then the person told him, he said, Malana, just give me what you got. So Malana gave him the money and he said, is this enough? And the person asked him, Malana, how much is enough? So a tweet a few weeks I shared ago, a few weeks ago, and I think it should resonate with all of us, that this world is just a temporary folly. It's just a temporary world for us. We should be looking for the year after. And the tweet that I put out was that from the time we are born, we really work very hard to accumulate everything from cars and houses and money and everything we used to accumulate, only to leave it all behind. So imagine that from the time you are born and you're old enough to go to school and you're old enough to work and then you're old enough to own a car and everything, we accumulate everything from our houses to our cars to watches to gadgets, everything, only to be left behind when we pass away. Think about that and let me know your thoughts and comments. And then finally, we're coming on to the last thing. As I mentioned earlier in the program, Microsoft Translator launches 13 new African languages. Software giant Microsoft has added 13 new languages, African languages, to its Microsoft Azure Cognitive Translator. The 13 new languages includes Sesotho, Salaboa, Setswana, Xhosa, Chisona, Hausa, Igbo, Kinyarwanda, Lingala, and so many others, Rundi, Yoruba, and many others as well. The one that you will use a lot is, especially when you go to Saudi Arabia. I've got a lot of friends in Saudi, especially with my trips with the embassy when I went for Hajj last year and the year, before COVID-19. And, when speaking to your friend, he speaks a little bit English. I speak probably 1 or 0.1% Arabic, knowing just a few words. But the translator really made easy. All I do was hold my phone and we could have a conversation. And we had a conversation for close to 2 hours just using AI technology that we spoke about earlier, or the translating. Now, I use the Google Translate app. It really works nice. You speak, he speaks, and it translates immediately, obviously depending on the internet connection, but that shouldn't be a problem because there are quite good internet connections in the Haram. You get Zain, and you get many others as well. So basically that concludes the show for this evening. I want to say thank you and Jazakallah to all those who have tuned in to the show, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Remember that I will be back next week, inshallah, with another installment of TechByte, and you can tune into that one as well. So if you want to interact with me, I'm on Faizel Patel 143 on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram at Faizel Patel 143, and then also on facebook.com/Faizel Patel, and on YouTube. And like I said, there's a video coming soon for my solution to load shedding. That's the second part of my video, which has garnered almost 100,000 views because of all your likes and all your views. So Jazakallah and everybody for that as well. So for myself and my engineer for this evening, Brother Sadiq, please do have a beautiful and productive week. And remember the Ummah of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in your du'as. Fi amanillah. Assalamu alaikum